as my primary identity, but I'm also an instructional designer. I work in designing curriculums and learning content for all, right from children to corporates. I'm currently working with an organization which is involved in providing career education to 8th, 9th and 10th graders in from among the economically weaker section. I develop the content and curriculum and also do the training of the trainers there. So that is a little bit about me. Uh, and now let us, without any further ado, let's just launch into what all this is about. So I'm sure you all have a different idea as to what you were asked to, what you could expect in a session called digital storytelling, which has a very, very interesting connotation, but it can be really varied. So before I start, I would like you all to put in your chat, what is it that you think this is all about? Please go on and put in into the chat box. Anyone? What do you think digital storytelling is all about? Story as a method of teaching. Okay. Yes, storytelling is a good startup for kids. I agree. Storytelling. Okay. Using media to tell stories. Yes, that's much, much closer. Communicate and make contact with our audience. Very true. Digital is about communication. Yes. Okay. Story with all the tools. Yes, very close. Absolutely. Develop communication. Lesson related stories make learning easier. Yes. Using media. Okay. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Multiple things in one go. Well, that's quite ambitious, but yes, we can do that. Okay, okay. Yes, just as I had thought, you all have very, very different ideas about what digital storytelling. Yes, the intention is to initiate interest among the learners, absolutely. But what is this all about? So, to do that, let us just take a look at what I have to tell. Yes, storytelling using multiple media, multimedia, which is correct, absolutely. So, I would like to share my screen now. As we go on digitally telling stories through digital and actions. Yes, interactive art. Yes. Okay, so let me tell you what I have in mind when I talk about digital storytelling and more whatever it is, the accepted connotation of digital storytelling. And also, before I do that, I have to tell you why my interest in digital storytelling. As I told you, I'm a storyteller. I love stories, and as many of you have told, I think storytelling is an absolutely magical way to connect to your audience. It could be your students, it could be very young students, it could be teenagers, it could be adults, it could be in corporates, it could be older people, it could be people who are having, who need therapy, counseling. But of course, for that, you need a different set of skills. And for each of these, you need a different set of skills, right? So, for example, let's say you are a teacher. There are a set of special skills that all of you have, which help you to teach. Let's say you're a corporate trainer. That is a different set of skills. I'm an instructional designer. That is a different set of skills. So, storytelling is a common factor in all of these. It is not the one all and end all of these skills. You have learned a lot. You are using a lot of skills. Your experience would have taught you many, many things which work in your domain. Now, what we are going to see today is something that will sort of add a tool to your toolkit. So every single thing that you learn, you're going to be applying on top of your experience, applying on top of your knowledge, and develop whatever you have done so well so far. you are only going to make it a little bit more easier, a little bit more palatable. So I am going to, of course, concentrate on children because I'm assuming that most of you here are teachers. So everyone has a thought to share. Of course, at any point of time, I'm sure I say, tell me a thought, and each of you will come up with a thought. Everyone at every single minute of our time. Probably even when we are doing mindfulness meditation or deep breathing, we'll have a thought to share. And the truth is, every thought, every thought has an image to it. I think one of the most beautiful things about humans, about us, is that we think not just, abstract. We think in images. I don't know if animals have it. Of course, I have never known. But isn't it so beautiful that even as I am telling this, in my mind, I see images. When I'm talking about a forest, it's not words I'm thinking about. I'm telling someone about my beautiful adventure in the forest, in the National Reserve Forest. But as I'm telling them, I am not thinking of the words, my beautiful adventure in the National Forest. Instead, in my mind's eye, there is a forest. I see me. I see the people whom I am with. But I am talking. And the whole intention is, as I am telling my story, as I am conveying my point, I want the image that is created in your mind to be as close as possible to what I have in my mind. Do you agree? Isn't that the whole intention of communication? Whatever we are communicating, we want your thoughts to match with what is there in my mind, not necessarily agree. Let's say, as a teacher, you are telling a student that it is not correct to stand up in the class and make noise and disturb the class. You are telling words. It's not correct to stand up in the class. It's not correct to disturb the class. But in your mind's eye, you are picturizing a child who is standing up and creating disturbance. And you are telling it is not correct. You have something in your mind about the disturbance, and you are expecting the child to whom you're talking to carry the same image. If this image, there is a correspondence, one on one, the image in my mind corresponds to the image in your mind, then my communication is a success. Do you all agree? Please, I want you to put in your comments, put in your thoughts in the chat as much as possible. So please put in your thoughts. Yes. Thank you. Yes. So why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this in a workshop on digital storytelling? Is it a time filler? So because I don't have anything else to say? No, I assure you it is not. It is very important. So when you have a digital story, you are sort of making your job a little easier. A teacher's job is tough. You're just not trying to convey information. You're trying to convey connection. You want the child to accept the information. You want them to think the way you want them to think about it. You want them to use that information at a later point of time. So the image that you convey, whether you're talking about a king Ashoka, or whether you're talking about the decorum to be maintained in the Indian Parliament, or whether you're talking about Newton's 3 laws of motion, the image in your mind should correspond to the image in their mind. Now, many of you, I am sure, do it effortlessly just by using your words. How you communicate to the children. I am always in awe of teachers. How easily with just words. And now you have all this smart board, smart class, all these things. But before that also you used to do it. And everyone understood. How? I don't know. That's great. But what if you had some help? What if you had whatever the images in your mind, you're able to put it down quickly into a video or a small presentation and share it with the children? That is what digital storytelling is all about. It's about creating a digital media about what you want to tell. It could be what you want to teach. it could be what you want to convey, it could be what you want to talk, it could be what you want to share, right? So that is one part of it. That is the digital part of it. Now the next part of it is the storytelling. We're just splitting the words into two. Now, what is the advantage of a digital media? You can share it. You can send it to them. You can project it in the class. You can share it on internet. This is a digital world. Anything without digital is like you're half there. So this is something that you can do. So why not use stock videos? There are so many people who have done so many things. They will not be 100% to what you need to do. So am I asking you to create a video? Am I asking you to take a camera and shoot a video? No. That is where the advantage of digital storytelling comes to your aid. So what is digital storytelling? Okay, before that, I want you to have a question here. What all do you need to make a digital story? Do you need a creative brain? Do you need experience in movie making? Do you need expensive equipment? Do you need all of these, or do you need none of these? I would like you to put in your answer. A good app. A. Okay. A. Yeah. Most of you say A. In fact, creative brain only. D. Okay. All of the above. Okay. In fact, I say none of the above. Creativity is nobody's domain. There is no creativity that is not there already inside you. It is a myth. Creativity, when you put the crown of creativity on somebody and say they are creative brains, that is a myth. There is an image in your head, remember, as you speak. The only thing you need to do for a digital story is to bring that image out on the screen. You don't need to have any expansive creative brain to do that. Any of you who want to share any information can do that. Second, experience in movie making? Definitely not. Simple. There are, as some of you have said, there are hundreds of apps. Today, if you want to make a video, I'm sure some of you may already be using some of it. So it's a no-brainer. 7-year-old kids, 6-year-old kids make videos. Then what is stopping us? Nothing. You don't need anything to make a digital story. You can use your phone, you can use a laptop, you can use your tablet. You need any digital device. That's all you need. Expensive equipment? Definitely not. Many of these tools are extremely simple. It is a drag and drop, as you will see. So it is none of the above. Okay. So now, why will you use? So now I have said that digital storytelling is something that you don't need all this. Any of you can do it. Why will you do it? So digital storytelling is nothing but a story that you convey through a set of images. You can use this to introduce your class at the beginning of your class, to introduce a concept. Is it time consuming? No. It can be as short as you want or as elaborate as you want. You can use let's say you have a concept that you want to teach. You can create a small video to explain the concept. That is also definitely something that you can do. And then you can use it as a project, to, let's say you want to check what the children know about it. You can use it as a project. You can ask the children to create digital stories as an assignment. They will do a wonderful job, and this is something that is very shareable. So instead of writing pages and pages, you can have your children create a digital story or whatever they want to convey. Then it is definitely useful in research, analysis, in documenting. Let's say you want to talk about what you have achieved this year. You want to present. You started a new initiative. You want to tell them what this achieved. You can write a 10-page document. You can create a boring PPT, or you can create a digital story. If you create a digital story, all that it adds a 10x impact to what you would write or create a PPT in. because there is something about the medium itself that makes it crisp, short, to the point. If you are looking at a same slide in a video, at an image in the video for more than 10 seconds, you will find it boring. So then you will go and reduce the duration. It gives you a very clear picture because you become a viewer of your own work. Many of us create big PowerPoints and we are so full of it. We are so happy about it. We think like, wow, this has been like amazing work that I've done. And we go click. That seems so amazing. But when you present it, you can see a lot of bored faces. That's because you did not view the PowerPoint as a viewer. You viewed it as a creator. Whereas a video, the way it is going to play out in front of you is very clear. You're going to view it as a viewer. So it will give you instant feedback and it's a beautiful way to tell about your project. Let's say, for example, I picked up a project and I worked on it with my children. Now, there were targets and all that, and then I completed it. How do I show this? How do I present it to a sponsor? How do I present it to my management? Very simple, using digital stories. Um, of course, awareness campaigns, digital stories are a big plus. There is some issue in the school, and you want to, for example, it could be something very serious like bullying, or it could be something very small that obeying rules, obeying corridor rules, or it could be something about some of the classroom rules. Instead of, you'll be putting up posters, you'll be putting up there. It's very nice to have the children work together to create a digital story. Now, why this is so easy is that today digital media is a child's play. So it is not just about digital storytelling for you, it is digital storytelling for your children. Now, I have been talking digital storytelling, but I am at fault because I have been mostly talking about digital. I said you can make a video for this, you can make a video for that, we can do this, we can do that. So what is the difference between whatever we are going to make and the reels that come on Insta? Many of them are digital stories. I'm not denying that. I am completely in awe of the current generation, the way they quickly think in their mind and come up with a story. But not all of them are stories. What do you have to say about it? What is the difference between a video, a reel, something that gets put on YouTube, that gets put on Facebook, something gets put on Instagram, something that you've recorded on your vacation, and digital story? Come on, I would like to hear from you. Comic strip? Okay. Can I repeat my question? Should have a beginning and an end. That is very nice. Yes, ma'am. Anshu Srivastava. It should have a beginning and an end. It must have a theme, not just a status. Very nicely put. Connectivity. Amazing. Yes. But why? Plot. Absolutely. I think you all just hit it on the nail. It's completely, you've just taken my words out of my mouth and you're putting it out there. Should have well developed characters. Yes, to a large extent. So what we are trying to do is, I want to make something digital. I want to make a digital asset. Now, I want to make, let's say, a video to teach. But then there can be a difference between a video and a story. So when you make a digital story, it is not just a video, it's not just a fact, it's not just a series of facts. You create a plot into it. You create a simple plot into it. As someone said, a beginning, a twist, and an end. Otherwise, if you put together a series of images as your video and then present it like my school, this has a beautiful playground, and then we have top-notch computer lab, and look at our classrooms, smart boards, amazing. Look at the kind of information we give. Superlative. Look at our auditorium, top of the world. And also, look at us. We have so many activities, sports activities. What is the other one? Music activities. And we have dance. And then we have extracurriculars. Yoga, of course, we have all of that. I take a picture of each of this. And then I put it together as a video. What would you call that? Would you call that a digital story? You can share your thoughts with me. No. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It cannot be a digital story. It is just an compilation. It is an information. It is a video. Now, when we create a digital story, how can you distinguish? I said earlier on that you don't need to have a creative mind, all that is now, leave it out. So now one question will come, isn't creating stories something that has to have an extremely creative mind? I will say no. There is a simple way to create a story. Once upon a time, something was happening, and then there was a change, that because of something, someone was doing something every day. It's called a story spine. Once upon a time, something was happening, and then one day something happened to change this event, and then because of the change, there was another change. Because of the change, there was another change. What happened to the person you started the story with because of these changes? A transformation. So where that person started off and where it ended. Right? So it's a simple arc. So when you're creating a digital story, you need to have a simple story arc. It starts with something, there is a plot, and then it ends. That doesn't mean we have to let go of the information. So that doesn't mean we have to say, okay, no, that's too bad. But I want to show about my school. There's nothing wrong. I want to create a video about how great my school is. So why shouldn't I do it? What is wrong? And then here she's telling me that you have to create a story. So how can a story be about that? So that is a challenge I am going to give you, and I would like you to take a pause right here and think about how could you make a story out of this very thing. The information I want to convey to XYZ, maybe my sponsors, maybe my management, maybe someone else, maybe my children, maybe my parents, is that my school is an amazing school. That is the message that needs to go. How will you create this as a story? So the first step in creating a digital story is storyboarding. Creating a story. How will you create this as a story? So I would like all of your creative minds to go berserk. Yes, yes. Okay, let me, I would like some of you to tell, if possible, how to practice. What next? Okay. Let me see. Collection of images. Okay, that was for the previous question. One fine morning. Okay, that is beautiful. Anshu Srivastava ma'am, that's a very interesting idea that she has given here. Don't you think so? You talk about a day in your school rather than XYZ school has this, XYZ school has that, XYZ school has hundreds of things, and that's why you should come here. Come parents, come. Instead of that, why don't you do one fine morning in our school? What happens during the day? Maybe it's a story of a set of children who are in your school and who, in your course of your story, get a chance to visit the different places in your school. And of course, everything is well. Maybe it is a small incident that happens, or a small problem they have, and how beautifully the problem is solved. Of course, in the process, you are also showing the beautiful facilities of your school. That's a very beautiful idea. If I got it right, did I get it right, Anshu Srivastava ma'am? A new boy enters the school. That's another beautiful idea. Some good deed done. Okay, can you further elaborate on that? I saw the children playing in the field. That is interesting. You want to talk about a story about a children playing in the field. A day spent in the summer camp. Yes, a day spent in the summer camp, one fine day. Those are interesting ideas. But again, the only thing is you have to be careful that you don't make it too much like a set of videos. Now, with digital technology, I always feel there's one bad thing is that I still remember my when I was a child, when I was a kid. That shows, I'm from that long time ago era. My father had a camera which was called a box camera, and he could put in 12 reel film with which he could take 12 black and white photos, and then he had to go and get it developed. So that means that this 12 photos that he had, he used to keep it for across a year. Believe it or not, we used to take 12 photos in a year, unless of course it was some special function. Then we would have one reel for that function, which means 12 photos, not more than that. But today, just because I walk down to the park and I feel there is a beautiful flower, I will take 200 photos, right? So pictures are not at all a problem now. You can take them, you can get them off the web, but how do you create a story in them? For example, a day in your school. You could probably easily click around 300 photos in one day in your school. How are you going to create a story out of that? Where is the story element that will come in, right? Narration through the new boy. Yeah, new boy is a very good one. A good deed done. We can narrate small stories department wise. Okay, so when you go department wise, that's again a good idea. So then the only problem, only not I won't say problem, the only thing you have to keep in mind there is that again it doesn't become too much of a this is the science department, this is the math department, this is what we do, this is what we do. You don't want that. You want it all to come together. See, when you hear a story, you tend to remember everything that happens together. It's not like, okay, what was it? Let us take a story of the, what do you say, thirsty crow. So when you hear the story of a thirsty crow, yes, integrated, absolutely. When you hear the story of a thirsty crow, which I'm sure all of you know, you don't, at the end of listening to the story, you don't remember, okay, crow, water, a place without water, very dry place. Crow, water, place without water, stones. You don't remember four separate things like that, do you? No. You are bringing it all together into one beautiful story about a crow which was in a dry place and did not find water. That exactly brings together everything for you. You have 5 departments. You want to show positivity. You want to show enthusiasm in children. You want to bring them all together into a bunch, into a beautiful story, which you can then make into a digital story. Yes, I can see ideas literally sprouting out of all of you, and this is so exciting to watch. Yeah, let me see. You have to connect the events. Yes. How someone helped to transform a child, a chain of events. Absolutely. Narration of a school in a dream. Wow. Amazing. Okay, a day for a new day starts with attending an assembly. Okay, as assembly is something that everyone attends and then something else happens. I'm guessing that's how you mean. That's what you mean. So I think that those are all completing amazing ideas. And as I said, each of us has a part of us, a creative part of us, because we think in images. We think in images. We think in stories. Every one of us tells a story. At least, if I won't be wrong if I say, each one of us tells at least 5 stories in a day. 5. And that is the bare minimum. I tell a story when I get onto a cab. I mean, cab driver may tell me a story. I'll hear a story in the school from the child. They have something to tell about what happened at school. I share a story with my colleague. I share, then after coming back home, I tell a story to my family about what happened during my work day. Or I may tell a story about a story. I watch a movie and I tell the story of the movie to someone else. But I don't tell like scene by scene, scene by scene, scene one. Shah Rukh Khan makes an entrance. Scene two, someone else makes an entrance. Scene three, this is why I don't tell like that. I make the story my own and tell it as a story. It becomes my story. It's not someone else's story. So each of us tell stories all the time. Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So I think if you start counting, you will see that 5 is a very, very pessimistic number. It may probably be near to 100. We all think in stories. So that's all you need to do. Take whatever you want to tell and create a small story around it. Create a small story around it. It need not be, it need not have like a plot which is like, a thriller kind of story which, nobody can guess what is happening, or it need not be something which has a lot of family drama and emotional and makes people cry. Those are not the only kind of stories. It could be simple story, a beginning, a twist, and an end with real people. Absolutely, ma'am. Kids are amazing storytellers. I love hearing stories from kids. And as I said, real people, animal characters, whatever you want to tell. It's not, there's no limitation that it has to be. It could be animated characters, it could be anything, right? So you could tell stories based on anything, but create a character, create a real, pick up somebody whom the audience can narrate to. Yes, a teacher can narrate many stories about an experience with students. I'm sure. I always wonder, I mean, I always feel that teachers are really lucky, but because every day they hear at least a few hundred stories from their children, the way they behave, what they do. They all have some, baggage and everything. So anyway, now I would like to take a brief pause at this point and ask if you have any questions. Of course, I'll be going further. So far, have you any questions? Yeah. Absolutely, ma'am. Yeah, they. I have to say, not only students, we all do that, but students are amazing, and the honesty with which they tell those small lies, I find it, very beautiful. It's like we can see through them, but then we know that they're making up. I can't even call them lies. They are the small stories, right? Okay, so I'm assuming that there are no more questions. So let me go ahead. Yeah. Can you see my screen? So what all goes into the digital stories? What all go into a digital stories? We said that a digital story is basically we want to divide it into two. Divided into two parts, digital media and stories. And we talked about stories. So create a story from whatever it is. Instead of putting a set of images, bring those images together into a story. So what are the elements that go into a story? Photos and videos. So I would say videos are optional. What you can use is photos. Images can tell many words. It all depends on how you can put them together. But let us say you have a video, you have a set of videos which you think will be very interesting. You can put them together. But you can make beautiful digital storytelling videos with just photos, putting together photos for a specific duration of time, so that and then syncing it with a voiceover or music or whatever it is, your voice. If you think it is interesting, if you are up to it, if you feel confident about doing that, you can definitely record your voice. And to record that, now that it's absolutely a no-brainer. You can record it on your video and transfer it to the laptop. You can record it on your laptop, or you can create a video itself on the laptop. You all, I'm sure, know that you can easily record a video, I mean audio. So record your voice, but what I would say is, before you do that, first thing to do is storyboarding. You have to have your story intact. And if you're going to do a voice recording, you need to have a script. Because trust me, even I am a storyteller and I tell a lot of stories. But when it comes to recording a narrative, I tend to go for many takes if I don't have a script. If I have a script, it becomes very easy. So generally, they say that 100 to 110 words, 120 words is a maximum per minute. When you're speaking speed so that you are clearly understood. So practice a few times, create a storyboard, write a script, practice a few times, and then record your voice. Text, text is great. You don't have to necessarily have your voice. If you can put text, but the trade-off here is you are looking at short text. You don't want the text to fill your screen. You don't want every part of your image to be filled with text. He said this, I said this, so he said this, I said this. No, short text which can convey a lot. You can add speech bubbles. You can put it on the bottom of the screen. So we'll look at how to do this. So that is the next step. Then images, stock images. Stock images are basically images that you get off the internet. Again, you have to look at copyright issues. If you plan to share it on public domain, you definitely have to look at copyright free images. So stock images, there are a lot of sites which give copyright free images. And you can get a lot of things. For example, let's say you want to create a digital story on classroom discipline, and you're looking at some particular set of images, and you may not want to use the real images of your students because parents may have objections and all those things, right? So you can use stock images. Audio clips, this can be music clips, or it can be even narrative clips, but I would definitely suggest against that. A good music clip added to the entire narrative in a very muted voice just pulls up the attention level of it. But you have to add an appropriate music clip, because depends on the tone of your story, depends on what is the speed at which you are speaking and all that. So but you can do a little bit of research. Again, there are copyright free audio clips. If you are musically inclined, you can definitely record your own clips. And last but not the least, animations. You get GIFs, you get animations. If you are so inclined, there are some software where you can create a bit of animations also, including our own PowerPoint. PowerPoint can be saved as you can create animations in PowerPoint and save it as a video. So if you want to have animations, that is something that you can do. So these are some of the things that you can add in your digital story. So storytelling, we already looked into it. Now you have a story, you have a storyboard, you have images, you have music, you have maybe a voice recording, you have some animation or whatever. So you have two baskets. There is one that is a story, there is a set of resources. Now we need to do what we did with the Thirsty Crow story. We don't want your audience to go back thinking about a crow, a stone, a dry place, and water. We want them to think about a thirsty crow who had to search and get water. You got it, right? So we need to bring all these together and fit it into your story. For that, you need a simple tool. Now, there are many tools which you can use. I would say the easiest among them, I will show you. The easiest among them is if you are using a Windows. I use a Windows system. I'm sure that you have equivalent tools in Mac. I have never used a Mac. So if you do use a Mac, please do a Google and you will definitely get it. So I'm going to give you two easy tools that you can use in Windows. And as I told you, there are millions. There are apps you can download on your phone. There are tools for as low as 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 rupees to extremely high-end video editors, which could be, which could run into 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So it is depends on your purpose. Right now we want to simply make a simple digital video. I'm going to talk about two free tools that are available on a Windows laptop, on a Windows system. Again, I'm telling you, if you're more comfortable with the phone, investigate on the phone. Everything is at a arm's reach with our dear Google. So you just have to search and you will get. So I'm going to talk about two tools, and let me just get into that quickly. So one is our very dependable PowerPoint, which has been with us from a long time. And of course, PowerPoint has an option to save a PowerPoint as a video. So you have to go to here, File, Save As. If you see here, there is an option to save a PowerPoint as a video. It's as simple as that. Now, the next question, which I'm sure you will have in your head, is how do I set the slide timings? I don't want PowerPoint to decide how much time each slide should be there in the video. So then I have an option here. You go to transitions. You select all the slides. And if you see here on the right hand side of my screen, there is something called duration. You can set it individually for each slide, or you can set it all at once for all slides. So the general rule of thumb is, do not have a static image for more than 10 seconds. It is an overkill. 10 seconds seems really short for us, but if you think about it, if you're looking at a static image with just some text running for 10 seconds, it gets a bit boring if in digital storytelling. But if you have some information, let us say you want to couple the digital story with some information, all this is fine, nice. At the end of it, you want to give an information, then it is fine. Then you have to talk up for a minute. Now, what is the total length of the recommended video today with our current generation's attention span, which, as you all know, and I'm sure you are really struggling with, and that too our COVID years have really destroyed our children's attention span. Their attention span is very low. I think a few years back, a 5-minute video was considered short. Today, a 30-second video is considered short. But we can't do much with a 30-second video. We have to come somewhere to a midpoint of these two. So I would say 2 to 3 minutes. Now that is a bit of challenging, because how do you convey a story in 3 minutes? But it can be done, and it will surely be done. All you need to do is have a clear idea. So that is why storyboarding is very important in creating a digital video. Storyboarding is the process where you create the story. So this is one tool, PowerPoint. The other tool which is there in all your, if you have a Windows laptop, you will surely have it, is something called a video editor. One minute, let me. Yes, absolutely. Canva can also be used. Canva can be used to create beautiful videos. As I said, I am looking at two tools which are natively available on a laptop. There are many online tools. In short, can be used on your phone, and there are many tools. So if I start getting into the tools, it is not going to come anywhere, because there are so many, and each of you have a comfort level with a different tool. So one of the tools that I use on the laptop is called a video editor, which is a native tool that you have in your Windows system. So these are some of the stories that I had created at different times, like climate change, or this is a storytelling, or this is a promotional video. For example, I'll just show you. This is a promotional video that I had created. So this has a simple timeline. Oh, why is it empty? Sorry. So this is something which is a promotional video that I created for my storytelling. So uh,
পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে হারানো সেই চোখের দেখা প্রাণের কথা সে কি ভোলা যায় পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা ভুলবি কি রে
So yeah, so of course this is a promo video, it's not a digital story, but this is a very easy tool with which you can create any number of, so all you need to do is you need to drag and drop. It has a simple, very simple timeline. You need to drag and drop the images into the timeline, just like Canva. Canva, you can easily create a lot of very interesting Vimeo, InShot, photo stories, Kumpa. Yes, all of them can be used. Whichever is your favorite video editor, you can use it. But the important thing again, I would say, is create a story. Decide on your decide on your topic, decide on your message. What is it that you want to convey? Script or storyboard a story. Collect the resources. It could be images, it could be videos, it could be music, it could be audio. Collect them for your story and then use a simple video editor to put it together. We are not looking at hi-fi cinematography, we are not looking at hi-fi photography, we are looking at simple images put together to create a story, which can be digitally shared. You can add text onto it, you can add animations onto it, you can do whatever you want. But going back, the most important is the story itself. So I would like to stop at this point. Maybe in a follow-up class, we can go through, you can pick up any tool of your choice and we can go through the process of actually creating a digital story in the class. So any questions up to this point, I would be happy to answer.
Ma'am, we have 5 minutes left with us.
Yeah. So I'm opening up for questions. Anyone who has any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? You can take it up right now. And I'm forwarding the feedback form with you all. Please fill up the feedback forms so that you will be eligible for the certificates.
Would you all like to try a digital story? Do you think this session has given you some interesting points that is going to, sort of motivate you to try making a digital story? Any of you? Yeah, AR Lupa, yeah. For senior class, I think someone, can you tell us 1 minute? Sorry, let me look at the questions. Uh, Senior class, okay. Uh, See, ma'am, for senior class, definitely it is going to be more beneficial. But I would say for senior class, you give the onus on to them rather than you sitting and doing these. So let's say you want them to do a project, you want them to do a presentation. Now instead of asking them to write, if you ask them to make a digital story out of it, they will be completely happy. They will be very happy to do it, and they will do a great job of it. All you need to do is, if they don't know, give them some simple tricks on how to create a digital story. The digital story is a great way for an assessment or an assignment. And of course, if there are some concepts that you want to teach, you can also work on it, and you can also create a digital story. A video is definitely a great learning tool. I saw one more question. Uh, a comic app to create a story. Do you mean an animation app? Okay, so there are some apps called Powtoons, and there are quite a few other comic strip apps. I don't use too much of the comic strips as such, but Powtoons is something that you can definitely check it out. And most of them have a trial version which comes with a watermark, but that should be fine if you're trying to do a project or if you're trying to make something for the students. That is definitely something that can be done. And of course, I am a big fan of Canva and PowerPoint, and you can do whatever you can do, you can easily do it in that. That's very interesting, ma'am. You told the students to make a comic strip of the word problems. Plotogan, what is that, ma'am? Yes, surely this. Okay, to make a comic story. That's interesting. Thank you. I didn't know that. Plotogan. I will definitely try it out. Thank you so much. Yes, you can definitely ask the senior students to make a comic strip. You can ask them to make a story. You can ask them to do anything. They'll be very happy to do something with technology. And, they will beat us at it in no time. Okay, I do hope you found my thoughts, whatever I knew, I was sharing, and definitely we can do a follow-up one where we actually create it together online, so that we can get a better idea, we can get a better hold on the creation of a digital story rather than just digital or just a story.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Meera ma'am, for such wonderful session.
Thank you, most
Hope
welcome.
you all enjoyed. If you need the part 2 of this session, write it in the feedback form so that we can arrange some other sessions with Meera ma'am. Thank you everyone. Please fill up the feedback form so that you get the certificate within 7 working days. Thank you. Have a good evening.